Welcome, beloved soul. There are moments in life when something unusual pulls you, something powerful, something divine. Today is one of those moments. If you are here, if these words have found you, there is a reason. Nothing in your spiritual journey is random. You are here because a message has been sent to you, and it carries weight, clarity, and urgency. Many people will scroll past it. Many will ignore it. But you didn't. You paused. You opened. And that is the first sign that this message is meant for you. Before we begin, I want you to do one simple thing. Sit with your heart for a moment. Take a breath. Feel your shoulders relax. Let the noise of the world fade for these next few minutes. Because what you're about to hear is not just a message, it is a shift. And as you listen, I invite you to comment below. I am open to receive guidance. Your words are an act of spiritual permission. The opening of the heavenly message. There are moments in your life when something interrupts your normal routine. A message appears. A thought comes out of nowhere. A video shows up exactly when you're not looking for it. And in that moment, something inside you pauses. Not your mind, but your spirit. That is what is happening right now. This message is not entertainment. It is not a coincidence. It is not something you stumbled upon casually. You were guided here. You were led here. And although you may not fully understand why, your spirit recognizes the pull. You have been feeling something lately. Something subtle yet persistent. A shift, an uneasiness, or a nudge that you can't explain with logic. It shows up in quiet moments, when you are alone, when you're about to sleep, or when your mind drifts. That thought, that worry, that intuition you keep brushing aside is the very reason you were brought here. Heaven has been trying to reach you. You may have ignored the earlier whispers. You may have doubted your instincts. You may have told yourself it was just your imagination. But today, the message is louder. Stronger. Clearer. And it demands your attention. Archangel Michael, the protector, the defender, the warrior of truth, steps forward only when something requires spiritual intervention. His presence is not soft or subtle. It is powerful, radiant, and unmistakable. And right now, that presence surrounds you. You may have felt signs recently, even if you didn't recognize them for what they were. Perhaps you noticed recurring numbers like 111, 444, or 222. Perhaps you found feathers in unexpected places. Perhaps you had dreams that felt too vivid, too symbolic, or too alarming to ignore. Perhaps you felt a sudden surge of intuition, a knowing that you couldn't explain. These were not random. These were the first attempts to get your attention. But heaven knows your heart. Heaven knows your sensitivity. Heaven knows your purpose. And when the subtle signs are not enough, the message becomes stronger. That is why this moment is happening now. Because there is something connected to your life, your path, and your energy that needs immediate clarity. Take a moment and reflect on your recent days or weeks. Have you felt spiritually tired, even without physical exhaustion? Have you felt disconnected from certain people, even though nothing obvious happened? Have you felt a heaviness you couldn't explain? Have you felt a push to be alone, to think, to reset? These sensations are not random emotional shifts. They are spiritual markers. They signal that something around you has changed, and heaven is trying to guide you before you step into your next phase. Archangel Michael appears during pivotal moments, moments of decision, moments of transition, moments where something in your environment carries weight. His energy comes through when your intuition needs confirmation or when your spirit needs reinforcement. Right now, he is urging you to focus. To listen. To open yourself to the message waiting to reach your heart. You may be someone who carries burdens silently. Someone who keeps strength on the surface even when chaos sits beneath. Someone who pushes through life with resilience even when the weight becomes too heavy. And because of that strength, people around you may not notice when something is wrong. But heaven does. Archangel Michael does. This message is here because there is something you must be aware of. There is something you must prepare for. There is something you must see clearly before it unfolds. Not to frighten you. Not to worry you. But to protect you. Because your heart is valuable. Your spirit is sensitive. Your soul has purpose. And heaven does not allow unnecessary confusion to stay on your path. As you continue to listen, I want you to take one moment to acknowledge your intuition. Acknowledge the quiet warnings you've been feeling. Acknowledge the strange heaviness. Acknowledge the repeated signs. These sensations are not lies. They are not overthinking. They are not exaggerations. They are spiritual truths rising to the surface. And now that you are here, now that you have opened this message, heaven can finally speak to you clearly. Before we continue, I want you to anchor this moment in your own spirit. Write in the comments. I am open to receive guidance. Not as superstition. Not as ritual. But as spiritual permission. As your acknowledgement that you are ready to hear what you were meant to hear. As your signal that you are ready to step into clarity. This message is not for everyone. This message is not for the doubtful or the distracted. It is for the chosen. The aware. The spiritually sensitive. The ones whose purpose is bigger than they realize. And if you are still listening, if your heart is responding, if your intuition feels activated, then you are exactly who this message is meant for. You are ready for what comes next. There comes a point in every spiritual journey where the universe stops whispering and begins to speak directly. A moment where heaven steps between you and something that does not belong on your path. A moment where protection becomes more important than comfort. That is the moment you are in right now. This message is not here to disturb your peace, but to preserve it. It is not here to frighten you, but to awaken you. A shift has been happening around you. An energy has been changing. A truth has been forming behind the scenes, waiting to come into the light. And you have sensed it. Even if you didn't want to admit it. Even if you tried to ignore it. Even if you convinced yourself you were overthinking. You are not imagining anything. Your intuition has been trying to warn you about someone or something that no longer aligns with your spirit. This is the part of the message where heaven reveals what your soul already knows but has been hesitant to acknowledge. When heaven sends a warning, it comes through your feelings first. Think back to the last few weeks. Has someone's energy started to feel different? Has a conversation left you feeling unusually drained? Did your spirit feel unsettled after interacting with someone you used to feel comfortable with? Did something feel off even though you couldn't explain why? This is heaven's first language, intuition. And when you don't listen, heaven sends a stronger signal. You may have been questioning someone's sincerity. Feeling uncomfortable around a certain person. Noticing inconsistent behavior. Feeling pressured or manipulated. Sensing that you're being watched, judged, or talked about. Feeling like someone is hiding something from you. Your mind may not understand it, but your spirit does. And Archangel Michael is stepping forward because he cannot allow this burden to sit on your heart any longer. Heaven is revealing that someone's energy around you is not pure. Not catastrophic. Not dangerous. But not aligned with your spirit's direction. This person's intentions may be self-serving. Unstable. Uncertain. Envious. Manipulative. Or simply incompatible with the person you are becoming. They may not be evil. They may not mean harm. But their presence is no longer safe for your spirit. You have outgrown the version of them you once knew. One of the hardest spiritual truths to accept is that people change. Or rather, your path changes, and certain people simply cannot follow. There may be someone who once brought comfort, familiarity, or closeness into your life, but now something feels off. A conversation feels different. Their words feel heavier. Their presence feels tighter. Their energy feels consuming. This shift is not accidental. It is spiritual. Your growth has created a separation. Your elevation has created discomfort in those who preferred you small. Your clarity has made their intentions harder to hide. Your intuition has made their patterns more visible. And now heaven is stepping in to show you what you were meant to see. Archangel Michael protects the soul by exposing what the eyes cannot. He steps forward when truth must be illuminated, especially when you have been ignoring the signs. The universe removes what your heart is too gentle to walk away from. There are moments in life when you cling to people out of loyalty, history, love, or habit. You give chance after chance. You try to understand. You try to justify. You try to overlook the uneasy feelings. But heaven sees what you cannot. Heaven sees the energy behind the smiles. Heaven hears the conversations when you are not present. Heaven watches the intentions behind each action. And when something is not meant for your path, heaven begins to pull it away, gently at first, and then firmly if needed. Right now, that pulling is happening. This is why. You feel disconnected suddenly. You feel drained after talking to certain people. You feel confused after interactions. You sense disappointment without reason. You've been experiencing tension or misunderstandings. You feel like your spirit is on alert. Heaven is not trying to punish you. Heaven is protecting you. This message is stepping into your life because you deserve truth, clarity, and peace, things this person or situation can no longer offer you. The warning is not about fear, it's about preparation. This is important to understand. The message is not saying someone is out to harm you. It is not saying someone is dangerous. It is not telling you to panic. It is telling you to pay attention. Because your spirit has been signaling you. Your dreams have been trying to speak. Your emotions have been responding. Your intuition has been reacting. But now heaven wants you to move from sensing to understanding. Archangel Michael is showing you who drains your energy, who blocks your progress, who dims your spirit, who distracts you from your purpose, who keeps you emotionally stuck, who you are meant to distance yourself from. You are not meant to confront them. You are not meant to argue. You are not meant to expose them. You are simply meant to detach. Slowly. Softly. Peacefully. Because your destiny requires space. Your future requires alignment. And your spirit requires protection. You knew this was coming. Deep down, without needing this video, you felt it. You sensed the truth before it was spoken. You noticed the emotional withdrawal. You felt the energetic shift. You heard your intuition whisper. Something is not right. This message is here to confirm what your soul already knew. You are not wrong. You are not imagining things. You are not overthinking. You are awakening. You are becoming more spiritually sensitive. You are stepping into a higher level of awareness. And heaven is guiding you because something better, purer, and healthier is waiting on the other side of this realization. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey where heaven steps forward not just to warn you, but to shield you. To draw a line around your energy. To place a divine boundary where a human one may have failed. That moment is now. Archangel Michael, known throughout centuries as the warrior of truth and the guardian of souls, does not appear without reason. His presence is bold, unmistakable, and powerful, yet deeply comforting. He is a protector. A guide. A defender. A clarifier. And right now, he is standing closest to you. Not because you are weak. Not because you are in danger. But because your spirit is stepping into a new level of sensitivity, and your intuition is increasing in strength. Such moments require protection, not to restrict you, but to elevate you. You have been feeling something in your energy, and it is not random. Think back to the last few days or weeks. There has been a shift inside you. You may not have understood it, but you felt it. Perhaps you felt tired without reason. Perhaps you felt your mood fluctuate unexpectedly. Perhaps you felt disconnected from someone you once felt close to. Perhaps you felt a desire to withdraw, reflect, or isolate yourself. These sensations were not emotional instability. They were your spiritual senses awakening. The moment your spirit begins to grow, heaven surrounds you with greater protection. Not because something is wrong, but because something important is right. Because your path is rising. Because your destiny is moving. Because your soul is aligning with a higher frequency. And higher frequencies attract both light and resistance. That resistance is what Archangel Michael is stepping in to dissolve. You are being protected from what your spirit has outgrown. There is a misconception that protection always means danger. It does not. Sometimes protection simply means separation. Elevation. Distance. Clarity. You have outgrown certain people, energies, and environments, and because your heart is loyal, you didn't push them away, even when you knew their energy no longer felt right. Heaven is stepping in because your heart is too kind to do the cutting. So heaven will do it for you. This protection is not forced. It is gentle. It is subtle. It comes through intuition, revelation, detachment, and emotional clarity. You may feel in the coming days that some people's presence feels heavier. Some conversations feel forced. Some relationships feel strained. Some interactions feel confusing. Some invitations feel uncomfortable. Some opportunities feel wrong even if they look right. This is not coincidence. This is divine separation. This is Archangel Michael removing what does not align with your next chapter. Archangel Michael is surrounding you with 4 layers of protection. Heaven's protection is not one-dimensional. It is layered. Deep. Precise. Intentional. Here are the 4 layers surrounding you right now, though you may not have realized it until this moment. Protection of clarity. This is when truth becomes undeniable. Everything hidden will begin to reveal itself, through words, actions, repeated patterns, or sudden realizations. Confusion lifts. Your inner knowing becomes sharp. You will see people for who they are, not who you hoped they would be. Protection of energy. This is when your spirit no longer tolerates what drains it. You may feel sudden distance from people you used to enjoy. You may lose interest in conversations you used to entertain. You may feel your patience thinning with negativity, gossip, or manipulation. This is not moodiness, this is spiritual detox. Protection of destiny. This is when heaven blocks opportunities that do not align with your purpose. Something you wanted may slip away. Something you planned may fall through. Something you expected may change abruptly. Not as punishment, but as divine rerouting. Protection of connection. This is when the right people begin to appear, slowly and naturally. You will notice more supportive energies. More peaceful interactions. More alignment with those who uplift you, not drain you. Heaven removes, but it also replaces. If you felt emotional or mental disturbance recently, this is why. Archangel Michael often comes into your life in subtle ways before the full message arrives. You may have felt unexplained anxiety, emotional heaviness, a sense of urgency, a need to pray or meditate, a desire to clean your room or reorganize your space, a sudden pull to change your habits, random bursts of intuition, dreams that felt symbolic or unsettling. These are spiritual adjustments. They occur when your energy is preparing for a shift. You are not unstable. You are awakening. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. Your energy field is being cleared, strengthened, and aligned. You are being spiritually armed. Protection may feel like loss, but it is actually freedom. Sometimes protection comes disguised as someone distancing themselves, a friendship fading, a relationship ending, a job opportunity disappearing, a door closing, a plan failing. But what feels like loss is actually liberation. What feels like rejection is actually redirection. What feels like confusion is actually clarity forming. You are being pulled away from old energies so that new blessings can enter. You are being removed from misalignment so you can step into purpose. You are being guided out of the wrong room so you can enter the right one. And Archangel Michael is overseeing the entire shift. Your spirit has reached a turning point. You are not the same person you were a year ago, a month ago, or even a week ago. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally, you have evolved. You are becoming more intuitive, more aware, more aligned, more sensitive to energy, more receptive to divine guidance. Because of this, heaven knows you require stronger protection. Not protection from danger, but protection from distraction. Not protection from enemies, but protection from misalignment. Not protection from harm, but protection from spiritual stagnation. You are stepping into a phase where your decisions matter more. Your boundaries matter more. Your clarity matters more. Your peace matters more. And heaven is ensuring that nothing interferes with that. There comes a moment in every person's life when the ordinary world becomes strangely quiet. A moment when the noise of routine fades, and something unseen tries to get your attention. This moment is rarely loud. It doesn't arrive with crashing thunder or dramatic signs in the sky. Instead, it appears softly, like a whisper brushing against your awareness, gently nudging you to pause and listen. Many people ignore this moment. They feel the tug, but they push it away because it doesn't fit into their schedule or their logic. But you, right now, are being asked not to ignore it. Because this moment is not random. It is a sign that the spiritual realm is approaching you, trying to offer something you have long prayed for, perhaps even forgotten about, but heaven has not forgotten. This moment is the subtle shift in your atmosphere, the sense that something is aligning, something is moving behind the scenes, something is preparing to enter your life. For some, it feels like a sudden wave of peace that doesn't match their circumstances. For others, it is an internal alert, a feeling of anticipation, as if your soul knows something before your mind catches up. And for a few, it is an unusual spark of courage or clarity that appears out of nowhere. These are not coincidences. These are signals. Heaven tends to move quietly because the divine does not need noise. Spiritual intervention does not depend on dramatic displays to prove itself. Instead, it flows like a gentle current guiding you toward your appointed moment. And the truth is, you are standing very close to such a moment right now. Something is shifting, and your spirit feels it even if your physical eyes cannot yet see the evidence. A divine presence is nearing you with purpose. It could be guidance. It could be protection. It could be the breakthrough that has been waiting for the right time. But the approach has begun. There is a reason you have felt unusual emotions, strange alignment, or unexpected thoughts lately. Heaven often alerts you before it blesses you. Think of it like the faint glow before the rise of the sun. The light hasn't fully arrived yet, but the atmosphere knows it is coming. Your spirit is sensing the arrival. Sometimes this heavenly approach happens after a long period of difficulty. Not because the universe wants you to suffer, but because your spirit becomes more receptive, more open, more humble during times of struggle. Just like soil is softened by the rain before seeds can take root, your heart is often softened by hardship before blessings can grow. That is why people often feel their greatest breakthroughs after their hardest seasons. Right now, heaven is preparing to step closer. And when this happens, certain signs intensify. You may feel discontent with things you once tolerated. You may feel drawn to silence or reflection. You may feel the urge to change something in your life. These are not random impulses. They are preparations. Heaven never gives without first creating the space within you to receive. There is also a moment where your inner world becomes unusually sensitive. You may notice the heaviness in certain environments or the peace in others. You may feel more aware of people's intentions. You may discern things you didn't consciously observe. That is because when the spiritual realm draws near, your intuition sharpens. Your perception heightens. Your inner compass aligns more strongly with truth. Think of it like the way birds can sense a storm before it arrives, or how the wind changes seconds before a rainfall. Your soul is sensing the nearness of something greater. And there is something else. When heaven begins to touch your life, even slightly, opposition often tries to distract you. Suddenly you may feel tired, irritated, confused, or overwhelmed. Not because you are failing, but because you are transitioning. Darkness resists your breakthrough. It tries to keep you from paying attention. It wants you to scroll past the message meant for you. It wants you to ignore the signal. But you will not miss this moment. That is why this message found you at the exact time it did. Not earlier. Not later. Right now. Because something is approaching you that requires awareness, openness, and readiness. Heaven is not only giving you a blessing, it is giving you advance notice. It is saying, prepare your spirit. Something is unfolding. An invisible hand is brushing against the surface of your life. A spiritual presence is standing nearby. A divine shift is moving toward you with speed, precision, and intention. And when it reaches you, nothing in your life will remain the same. This is your moment to recognize that the whisper, the feeling, the pull, none of it is an accident. You are being called to pay attention. You are being invited to open your heart. You are being asked to trust the signal, because the moment heaven touches your life, everything begins to change. There comes a time in every spiritual journey when the unseen begins to reveal itself. Not in loud, dramatic explosions, but in small, unmistakable shifts that gradually become impossible to ignore. This is the moment when what was once hidden in the spiritual realm begins to show traces of itself in your physical reality. For a long time, you may have felt like your prayers vanished into silence. You asked, but heard nothing. You waited, but nothing moved. You believed, yet your surroundings looked unchanged. That silence made you wonder whether heaven had forgotten your voice, whether your needs were overlooked, or whether your faith was simply not enough. But what you didn't realize is that many answers arrive quietly, long before they become visible. Just because something is hidden does not mean it is not happening. A seed grows in darkness. A baby forms in the unseen. A sunrise begins long before the first light appears. And your breakthrough has been forming the same way, secretly, quietly, invisibly, while you thought nothing was happening. You are entering the stage where the spiritual begins to cross the boundary into the physical. The hidden is becoming visible. This transition often begins with subtle indicators. You may notice opportunities appearing that were not available before. You may feel your confidence rising after a long season of doubt. You may sense a shift in your relationships, your energy, or your emotions. These are not coincidences, they are symptoms of a spiritual change manifesting in your reality. And sometimes, before your blessing becomes visible, other things begin to move out of your life. Old habits, old connections, old mindsets begin to fade or fall away. This is not loss, it is preparation. Heaven cannot deliver what is new if your life is still full of what is outdated. Many people misunderstand this stage. They think the shaking means they are going backward, but it often means the opposite. When the hidden becomes visible, the first evidence is usually the removal of what no longer serves your destiny. A house must be cleared before it is redesigned. Soil must be broken before it can sustain growth. Your spirit must be softened before transformation can take root. You may also notice a sudden clarity emerging inside you. Answers to questions you've wrestled with for years may come unexpectedly. You may see yourself differently, stronger, wiser, more capable. You may realize that you have outgrown certain fears, certain patterns, certain limitations. This clarity is not random. It is heaven illuminating your path so that when the blessing arrives, you will recognize it and know exactly how to receive it. There is also a moment in this phase where resistance tries to rise again. Not because you are failing, but because darkness becomes aware that your breakthrough is nearing visibility. The enemy always fights hardest when the blessing is closest. So if you felt unusual pressure, confusion, or unexpected emotional heaviness, this is a sign, not of defeat, but of proximity. Spiritual pressure is proof that spiritual breakthrough is near. Think of a seed underground. Before it breaks through the soil, there is a moment of greatest resistance. It must push against the earth, absorb the last layers of pressure, and use every ounce of its inner strength to break into the light. What looks like struggle is actually emergence. That is exactly what is happening in your life right now. The push you feel is the final stretch before visibility. The discomfort, the shaking, the uncertainty, it is not a sign to give up, it is a sign to stay steady. You are on the verge of seeing what has been forming behind the scenes all along. And when the spiritual finally becomes visible, it arrives in layers. First, you see hints, small blessings, small opportunities, small confirmations. Then momentum begins to build. Doors start opening faster. The right people appear. The right situations unfold. Things that once required immense effort begin happening naturally, almost effortlessly. This is the point where everything starts aligning in your favor, not by chance, but by design. Because when heaven decides it is time, nothing on earth can delay what belongs to you. The shift that is approaching will not be subtle. It will not be something you can overlook or deny. It will be clear, undeniable, and deeply personal. It will be the moment where your story turns, where what you hoped for becomes real, where what you believed finally becomes visible. And when it happens, you will look back on every unanswered prayer, every quiet night, every season of darkness, and you will understand, none of it was wasted. Every moment was part of a process. Every tear watered your future. Every delay shaped your spirit. The hidden was not denial, it was preparation. Now, the preparation is ending. The unveiling is beginning. You are stepping into a season where what was concealed is about to be revealed. What was growing quietly is about to break through. What was forming in the spiritual is about to manifest in your reality. The hidden is becoming visible, and your life is about to reflect what heaven has already decreed. Every major blessing, every divine breakthrough, every spiritual promotion, arrives with a moment of testing. Not a test designed to break you, but a test designed to reveal you. To show heaven, to show the universe, and even to show yourself that you are ready for what you have been asking for. Most people do not realize this. They pray for a blessing but resist the test. They ask for increase but push away the stretching. They want elevation but avoid the moments that prove they can handle it. But the truth is simple and unavoidable: no door opens without a moment of proving. No new chapter begins without a demonstration of readiness. This is why, before heaven releases what has been prepared for you, life often places you in circumstances that seem strangely symbolic. Situations arise that touch your patience, your humility, your trust, your discipline, or your character. They are not random. They are not accidents. They are spiritual mirrors. These moments reveal how much you have grown and how much you are still holding on to. Sometimes the test appears as a delay. Not to frustrate you, but to strengthen the muscle of endurance. Other times it appears as a temptation to return to old patterns, old relationships, or old ways of thinking. These temptations arise not because you are weak, but because you are close to rising higher than the pattern you have lived in for years. A test may even come through people. You may encounter someone who triggers an old wound, challenges your peace, or provokes a reaction. This is not a coincidence. Heaven allows these encounters as a way of showing you what still needs healing and what you have already overcome. Once you respond differently, the old cycle breaks permanently. The moment heaven tests you is not about earning the blessing. It is about aligning with it. Think of it this way: you cannot pour new wine into an old wineskin. You cannot fit new blessings into old habits. You cannot receive a new beginning with the same reactions that belong to the old version of yourself. A spiritual test is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. And the test is always tailored to your destiny. What you face right now is not random, it is connected to the next stage of your life. If you are called to a higher purpose, you will be tested in areas that require maturity, calmness, vision, and trust. If you are destined for leadership, you will be tested through responsibility and pressure. If you are meant to carry blessings that impact others, you will be tested on your heart, your compassion, your integrity. Heaven does not test you to punish you. Heaven tests you to prepare you. This test is also time-sensitive. It tends to happen right before a major blessing is released. Not months before. Not years before. Usually right at the edge of the breakthrough. In the moment where everything feels strangely tense, uncertain, or emotionally heavy. When you feel stretched, tired, and unsure. That is often the exact moment where heaven is observing your actions, your heart posture, and your decisions. Breakthroughs are birthed in moments of pressure. If you feel pressure right now, if you feel stretched, if you feel tested in ways you cannot fully explain, it is a sign that the blessing is extremely close. Tests do not come when nothing is happening. They come when everything is about to shift. And here is something important. You do not have to pass perfectly. You only have to pass honestly. Heaven is not expecting flawlessness. Heaven is looking for growth, alignment, intention, and willingness. It is your effort to rise that matters. It is your decision to respond with awareness rather than old instinct. It is your choice to trust rather than fall into fear. It is your commitment to continue rather than collapse. The test is not meant to scare you. It is meant to elevate you. Because once you pass it, something remarkable happens. The spiritual world moves. Doors open. Delays break. Resistance dissolves. The momentum that was paused begins to accelerate again. It is like a dam holding back a river suddenly cracking open. Everything starts rushing toward you at once. And people may say you changed overnight. They may say your blessings came suddenly. They may say your life shifted out of nowhere. But you will know the truth. Your blessing did not arrive suddenly. It arrived at the moment you proved you were ready. The moment you chose growth over reaction. The moment you chose trust over fear. The moment you chose faith over doubt. The moment you chose to act like the person you were becoming, not the person you used to be. That was the moment the test was passed, and heaven took note. And now, you are standing in that very season. The test you are experiencing is not a setback. It is confirmation. It is proof that something larger, something higher, something divinely orchestrated is on its way to you. Stand steady. Stay grounded. Your readiness is being witnessed. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. And the moment you align with what you have prayed for, heaven will not hold it back any longer. There is a moment in every journey where the waiting ends. A moment where the invisible becomes visible, the quiet becomes loud, and the spiritual becomes physical. This is the moment where the blessing you have prayed for, cried for, fought for, and held on to through storms finally begins to take shape in the world around you. This is the arrival. And it does not come softly. For a long time, heaven has been arranging pieces you could not see. People you have never met were being moved, hearts were being softened, opportunities were being prepared, and certain paths were being aligned just for you. What felt like stagnation was movement behind the scenes. What felt like silence was planning. What felt like delay was coordination. You were not being ignored. You were being prepared. And now, you are approaching the moment where everything converges. The arrival of what has been prepared for you often begins with a shift in the atmosphere around your life. You may feel energy rising again after a long season of heaviness. You may sense clarity returning after confusion. You may notice that things which used to drain you no longer have the same power over your emotions. This is not coincidence. It is the spiritual becoming tangible. Before the blessing arrives, your spirit recognizes it before your eyes do. You may find yourself waking up with new motivation, new ideas, or unexpected peace. You may feel a quiet inner knowing that something is coming. You may notice that you are no longer attracted to certain situations or people who once felt familiar. Your spirit is detaching from what does not belong in the next chapter. This detachment is a sign that your blessing is near. The old version of you cannot enter the place you are about to walk into. You had to be reshaped, refined, and matured. Your mindset had to shift. Your patience had to be strengthened. Your faith had to be proven. Your discernment had to be sharpened. The arrival requires a version of you who can carry the weight of your blessing without collapsing under it. When the arrival begins, life moves in two directions simultaneously. One direction closes. The other opens. Doors that were once stable may suddenly shut. Opportunities that looked promising may dissolve. People who seemed permanent may step back. That is heaven clearing the path. You may feel a sense of loss, but the truth is simple: nothing that leaves your life at this stage is meant to be part of the new season. Then, without warning, new openings appear. The right people show up. Ideas fall into place. Conversations lead somewhere meaningful. The delays that held you for so long release their grip. The energy around your life changes. There is momentum again. There is direction. There is purpose. This is heaven releasing what has been waiting for the appointed time. The arrival of your blessing is not always loud externally, but it is always loud internally. Your spirit recognizes alignment. You feel guided, protected, and held even in the unknown. You begin to trust the unfolding instead of trying to control it. The tension that once filled your days begins to ease. The sense of struggle softens. And slowly, you realize, the battle was not to earn the blessing. The battle was to become the person capable of receiving it. This is when manifestation begins. Sometimes the arrival starts with something small. A message. A call. A sign. A decision. A shift in perspective. That small thing becomes the seed of something much larger. Then it builds. Layer by layer, door by door, moment by moment, the blessing constructs itself around your life. Other times, the arrival comes in a wave. A sudden breakthrough. An unexpected opportunity. A dramatic shift. A moment that redefines your future in ways you could never have predicted. It feels sudden, but it is not. It is the result of everything you have endured and everything heaven has prepared. And here is the truth many people never realize. Blessings rarely arrive in their final form. They arrive with potential, waiting for you to activate them through action, alignment, and courage. Heaven gives you the door. You must walk through it. Heaven gives you the opportunity. You must step into it. Heaven gives you the beginning. You must build the continuation. The arrival is not the end of the story. It is the turning point. The blessing that is coming into your life is meant to grow. It is meant to expand. It is meant to evolve. You are stepping into a chapter marked by acceleration. What once moved slowly will now unfold faster. What once felt blocked will now flow with ease. What once felt distant will now feel within arm's reach. This is the season of harvesting the seeds you planted in faith. You endured seasons of uncertainty. You survived storms that were meant to break you. You kept going when others would have collapsed. You prayed when nothing made sense. You believed when you had no evidence. You held on when walking away would have been easier. That endurance did not disappear into empty space. Every moment of perseverance was recorded. Every tear was counted. Every effort was recognized. And now, heaven is honoring what you survived. The arrival of your blessing is not a random reward. It is a response to your endurance. It is the fulfillment of a promise. It is the unfolding of divine timing. It is the sign that heaven has not forgotten you. It is the manifestation of the destiny written over your life long before you ever knew how your story would unfold. And when the blessing becomes fully visible, you will look back and understand why the waiting was necessary, why the shaping was essential, and why the delays were divine. You will realize that if the blessing had arrived earlier, you would not have recognized its value or known how to sustain it. Now, you are ready. This is your season of stepping into what was made for you. This is your time to witness the unfolding of what once existed only in your prayers. The arrival is not coming. It has already begun. The shift is already in motion. The doors are already opening. The alignment is already happening. And soon, everything you hoped for will no longer live in your imagination. It will live in your hands.